Okay, so returning to our story. Oh, hold on. The captions have to be added. One
While
more.
we're doing that, we'll just say hi to everyone in the chat. We have
Yes.
Sled, we have Question Keys UK, we've Good on 5, first time chatter. Hi, folks. Welcome on in.
It is great to see so many new names and faces in the chat. We always love having new people joining our stories. But yes, so, right. The party, having successfully made their way through the abandoned home of a goblin artificer who had been living in Paris but had disappeared about 30 odd years ago, you were told. You come back. You have a fairly
I don't think he
substantial.
disappeared.
You don't know. You did get quite a substantial hoard while you were when you were in there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So he's carrying all that back. It's late enough, but not so crazy late that you can't get a cab. All right. But to remind our viewers of the stash itself, it was. Let me see if I can find my list. Here we go. So there was a number of things. Okay. You found what looked like a quill pen, like an old medieval style quill pen made of solid silver. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There were these small brass balls, like small, intricate little brass balls, about 10 centimeters in diameter. There was this beautifully decorated, very exceptionally well made scabbard, okay, about the length of a an arming sword, like from like the 14th, 15th century, about that size and shape. So nothing at all like the modern small swords that sometimes people will have hidden in a cane. There was a very nice horn, um, decorated with ringadot style Norse engravings around it, and a little kind of leather cap over it, because when you picked it up, you could hear liquid sloshing around inside. There was also a small bottle made of finely crafted glass wrapped in silver filigree that looked like there was ground silver inside of it. There was another small kind of vial like bottle that had what looked like quicksilver or mercury inside it, but it seemed to have a slightly higher viscosity, be slightly thicker than mercury. And there was a quite fat, very, very fine pair of glasses, the lenses of which appeared to be made of solid silver, but when Mina put them on, she could see perfectly through them. And you also found a book um, written in Sylvan, which is a treatise on the powers of will and mental resolve, which Justine is pretty sure is quite a rare and legendary item, a tome of the sage. These are books which, if you read them, they will increase one of your abilities, in this case, resolve, and then the enchantment fades for 100 cycles of the moon. Okay? There was also some other things that you found, like there was some um, jewels and stuff like that. There was some rubies, some pieces of amber, stuff like that, as well. There was a bag of 150 gold too. Okay, so you, as I said, are making your way home, and you head back to Amanada's house. What's the plan?
Well,
somebody figure out you two sages. I look at the two swords of sorcerers, and I say, like, can you guys figure out what that is?
Yeah, we should know
all the stuff
what we
we
have
found
before we go to Madame Gaultier. At least so we know what they are handing over.
Yeah, absolutely. You can do that. So we can say that,
and maybe we want to keep something.
we'll say that when you get back to the house, you like go into the drawing room or something, and between Justine and Favours, you both being sorcerers and being proficient in the detect magic spell. Each of you spending, I don't know, probably the equivalent of maybe 10 mana each, roughly on these items. You do examine them all. Okay, going through them, the small little in brass balls, these are sunflower sparks. So when thrown on the ground, they release a brilliant burst of radiant light, which can temporarily blind those around you. Okay. The scabbard is referred to usually as an elf scabbard, and the scabbards are made for a specific sword. Okay. And as long as the sword is kept in the scabbard, it will always be in pristine condition and razor sharp, and will do an additional +1 damage. Okay. There is always the chance that it might fit another sword than the one it was made for, but like that's kind of tricky because, as I said, these swords are the standard swords that the elves use, which are kind of, think of something kind of, okay, I'm showing my own nerdy background here, the Polish favour. So a very long, thin, slightly curved blade. Okay, that's kind of sort of what that would be the closest human analogy to the type of swords that the elves normally use. Okay, so
my headcanon is something like Hartefang from Lord of the Rings.
yeah, not a million miles off, exactly. Okay,
but with a crossguard.
Yes, but with a proper decent crossguard. Okay.
It's like it's one of my favorite swords of all time, but the crossguard is a deal breaker.
The crossguard is non-existent. And as people who fence, we fence with swords, so we know the importance of a crossguard. Palina used to fence with us too.
For people who don't know, Neil and Susie here, they're very serious fencers. They've been doing HEMA forever, and Neil is actually who are you? You're a founder and like a president of HEMA Society of Ireland.
I was the founding president of the HEMA Ireland, our federation, and I've had my own club for over 12 years now. So yes, but I really should be a lot better at fencing than I am. Nonetheless, the next thing that was found, the drinking horn, is a horn of troll strength. They contain a magical draught. So this is the thing. They're believed by many scholars to be what give trolls and giants their great strength, but that's actually not true. It's literally troll beer, but when humans drink it, it temporarily makes them really strong. Okay? When you drink it, you basically get a +2 to your fortitude, which is a significant bonus for an hour. And a standard horn will and as you also get the might talent at +3, and a standard horn will hold 1d6 +3 drafts of drinking. Okay.
Yes,
that
was the same horn as in the first campaign, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, you did come across that in campaign 1. Yes.
We had that, yeah.
Yeah.
It was given to us.
The small little finely crafted glass bottle with what looks like ground silver in it is moon dust. Okay, so this is silver that is mined from the Fey realm itself. When a handful of this dust is thrown in the air on a full moon, if it lands on a site like a rock or something, that is a portal to the Fey realm, or an opening into a Fey mound, for example, it is revealed and it opens. Okay.
And you use it with a moon lamp.
You can use it with a moon lamp, which Gwynn has.
We do.
Right.
Okay,
so if you have a moon lamp, you always need that moon dust, though, do you?
Do,
so we would always have to buy some, like.
So that's
you
the
might
thing.
as well keep it, like save the money on that. Like, what do you guys?
They work in conjunction. Okay, you don't like what makes
yeah.
Like literally, moon lamps are effectively a magical bullseye lantern that. It doesn't it's not bright or anything, but the properties of the light from it are the same as the properties of moonlight. So for things like this specific magic item, moon dust, it works in that way.
Yep.
All right. The small little vial with the quicksilver-like material in it is a tincture of fairy speed. So if you take it, your body becomes filled with energy as time itself seems to almost slow down. For the duration, the person who's drunk it gets an additional major action per turn, Their speed is doubled, and they can withdraw as a free action. And the tincture lasts 1d6 plus 5 rounds.
Nice.
Okay. The glasses were glasses of true sight, which give the wearer the effects of the true sight spell. The true sight spell allows you to effectively see illusions, and depending on how powerful the caster was, you may or may not be able to see directly through the illusion. But you are also able to, when it comes to, where the bloody hell is it? Sorry, you can also detect invisible fey creatures as well as other individuals who are magically invisible. You can't see the creature, but what you can make out is like a magical glow outlining
kind of outline.
exactly
Okay.
where they are. So you know exactly where they are. And then the last item was the Tome of the Sage. If a person spends 100 hours reading this book over a period of 7 days, their resolve score is permanently increased by 1, and after it is read, the enchantment fades for 100 cycles of the moon.
Is there anything special about the pen of silver? Or is it just a
No,
fancy pen?
apologies. I
messenger
forgot that.
pen.
It's a messenger pen.
That's a messenger pen. Okay.
Yeah, it's a messenger pen. So the way the messenger
Is it just
pen.
a fancy messenger pen, or are they
No,
all
it's
like?
just a messenger pen.
That's like they generally. It's like you don't always see them looking like that. Like a lot of messenger pens nowadays are like just look like
I
really
just imagine
really
the normal kind of
expensive
pen look,
fountain pens. But this is a particularly posh one, okay? And how the messenger pen works is. They traditionally used to look like these medieval quills made of solid silver, okay? And there's a small compartment that they open up, and you pour specially prepared ink into that you need to buy off an artificer, okay? And
The movement script spell.
it's effectively the equivalent of a moonlit script spell, okay? So the person who's writing it, the person who is a writer basically thinks of who they're going to write to, and they write the message, a standard messenger pen. So it's kind of like a minute script spell, except it does have a range, and the range is 50 kilometers, which is still pretty significant, you know. And a standard pen would have enough ink in it to write 100 words, and then you would need to go to an artificer to get replacement ink.
While this is happening, Sylvia is going to get some wine for people because we decided, hey, let's go and look at this house after having a really nice meal and a load of wine, and then we went into the house, and now we're.
You're making yourself comfy in Amina's home and getting some wine.
Well, you probably wouldn't need to go and get wine. We'd probably wake up the people.
You're gonna wake up. Are you gonna wake up the
no.
housemaid?
Absolutely not.
No, we can tip into the
will
kitchen.
go and get wine.
Yes.
Okay.
So, I suppose the question is
It's not
this:
cheese we need this time. It's wine.
what would the party be looking to? Of the items, how many of them are you thinking of giving to Madame Gaultier? How many of them is the party thinking of keeping for themselves?
Well,
she not get first pick though?
Of what you give her.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is
So
the
hang on,
question I'm
let's
asking.
turn it around. Okay, let's turn it around and just say well, if you have a moon lamp, Gwynn, that needs a moon dust anyway, you might as well keep it because then we can save the money in buying that.
I assume
if it was anyone other than Madame Gaultier, I would keep them all. But my concern is that she won't be happy with what we bring back.
I agree.
I had thought if we were going to be honest about it and just show her what we brought.
That is what we agreed to, and we don't know if Madame Gaultier has other means of discerning the truth of
she can cast true sight.
So,
I know this for a fact.
So we should just bring what we have found, and hopefully she's gracious enough to take into account what we may have. I really hope she does not take this scabbard, because I plan on going back to that house and trying to find that sword.
Why don't you tell her that?
I mean, we can always
I
Middle ground.
don't think that going back to the house is a good idea. Like, why?
There's a sword.
Can I ask why is the sword important? I'm curious.
Because
I don't
Aminata
know.
really wanted that sword. And
Yeah,
she
but
didn't
we
decide.
have absolutely no way of knowing if the sword is even there. It could be gone.
Mhm,
is
In
that,
which case, we are risking our lives for no reason.
oh,
mhm.
that's true. I suppose it would have been nice to have the complete set, but I know I wouldn't risk anybody's life for just one thing. If we were going to go back in there, it would be to get more items, but
But we don't even know if
I
the sword
mean,
is there.
the thing is, of course, is having gone through the house, this house was weird. Like,
Yeah, not
true.
necessarily will be allowed to go back, because I have hard time believing they was completely abandoned. It felt
Yeah.
like there was a presence there. It felt like someone was watching over us. And at the beginning, it said something about the tricks. I do not remember the exact words because too much wine. But it clearly did not feel abandoned. So I don't think we'll be
And I
allowed to
think
go
the
back.
tricks will be different if we go again, you know. I
Exactly.
do not think it will be the same. I really think, I mean,
Yeah.
and also, not to, as I said before, if the sword is not there, it would be risking our lives unnecessarily.
No, absolutely. I agree.
Mhm.
It would have been nice to have, like I said, the complete set. I do think though that the house was not as abandoned as we thought, considering
Yeah.
when we left, we got told we got through more than others. So I assume we were being
Oh, you heard that
monitored.
too.
See,
Yeah,
so
well, wine does not typically have hallucinogenic properties. I don't know.
it depends on the wine.
I don't know, Gwynn. Did you put anything in the vines this time?
Not this time.
Hmm.
But I've learned my lesson. I would tell you if I did.
So can I get just a confirmation that you are going to give all items to Madame Gaultier? You're not keeping any of them yourselves.
Well, we're going to show her and then try and negotiate. Like, this is the impression I'm getting. Am I wrong? Is that
No,
what we did?
no, that is true.
Okay, fine.
Aminata is going to look at Gwen and say, Gwen, you will need to be your very, very charming self to ensure that we're not going to lose all of the items that we found.
Easy peasy.
Well, I think what will happen is we show her the items, and then anything she wants that we want to buy, we would have to, would be probably, taken from our cut of the gold and this kind of thing. I would
Well,
imagine that this
actually,
one should do it.
sorry, Sylvie, just to point out,
Oh.
when Madame Gaultier asked you about this job, she never mentioned anything about the treasure. She was only interested in magic items.
Okay, right.
She didn't actually mention anything about mundane treasure that was found. She was
Okay.
only concerned about magic items that were acquired. So just a point of clarification there.
Apologies, I made
No.
assumptions.
No, I was
So
under
if
the
I
same
remember
impression as well.
correctly, that's what Mina is saying, because again, Mina is pretty greedy. I actually remember the deal was that we get whatever is in there, and then she get first pick of what we want to sell. So my understanding is we can totally keep things that we find is, helpful. But
Yeah.
Okay.
Some of these things she might not have a need for if you're saying like she has true sight, so she might not want the glasses. But I'm curious what she really wants, because I don't think it's just the magic items. She might want more to know about the make, and maybe more to know if it's actually empty or not.
So, Favours, I will say this for you, both because of your background as an apprentice artificer in Constantinople and having briefly worked for Madame Gaultier. So you would be very experienced with artificers. Artificers love getting their hands on magic items made by the Fae. If for no other reason than they get to study them and try to better understand how they were made, just so that they can better hone their craft,
Yes.
So
I didn't expect she'd want the magic of them, but
No.
rather to understand them.
But also there's a simple fact that if you do manage to come across a bunch of really cool things, that you don't have to make that you can still sell.
Hmm.
And so, like, for example, the glasses of true sight. No, she all of these items, she probably is not interested in any of them.
Hmm.
Maybe the tome of the sage, because that's just improving a base ability. Because anything that she that you give her will be stuff that she will either want to study, because it might be an item that is very rare that she hasn't come across before. The tome of the sage is a legendary magic item. Okay.
Well,
So,
why don't we
but it's
sleep on it?
sorry to interrupt, but so just to point that one out, but anything that she that might be kind of cool that she hasn't come across before, she want to study or just sell,
Yeah. Well, I think that there's no harm in keeping items. It's not like we're lying. If she were to ask about, it was this everything we found, we can always say, no, we did find more, but a couple of things we thought we'd really need in our adventures.
Yeah.
And if she asks to see them, then there's no harm in showing them, but just keep them off the table of the discussion. Because if we show everything, what's really going to stop her from taking all of it?
I agree,
And
and
we
I
were
do
the
think
ones
that
who
many
went
of the items that we have, she will already have in stock and won't be too sad if we keep them. But I do think honesty is the
Absolutely.
best approach, just considering how powerful she clearly is. I would hate to sever a relationship with her professionally and personally.
And also, she's been quite good to us so far, so it makes sense to just be honest and frank. And I'm pretty sure she can understand that business is just business.
Mm-hmm.
Shall
Absolutely.
we just sleep on it and then visit the shop tomorrow?
We, um,
Either way, I want to try and log and understand as much details as I can of the items. So whatever we take or not, I want to use whatever I do know and how much limitation it is to just learn and observe and take notes. Even if it doesn't amount to much right now, it's just something Favours would want to do to better learn this craft.
Mm-hmm.
I think Justine would very much want to join her if Favours is okay, because we're both sorcerers and we have very similar backgrounds. So
Mhm.
Justine is very much interested in all sorts of like magic research. So yeah, Justine is going to join.
Okay, perfect. So, seeing that the two sorcerers don't plan on sleeping anytime soon, Amanada is going to grab Sylvia by the wrist and be like, we might as well get a few more things to eat to accompany the wine, maybe some cheese. Cheese! And
We need some cheese!
and while the sorcerers do what they do best, we could, I don't know, just sit, talk, and then we can go to bed.
Sylvia is gonna, she's not pulling away, but she's gonna look at the hand on her wrist and be like, okay. Yeah, okay. This sounds good. And you can see she's like looking really awkward and is like, what do I like? There's a hand on. Like, do I acknowledge? This is like kind of. Is she gonna hug me? What do I do here? There's like very like.
Amanada is just going to like look at Sylvia and say, Sylvia, take a breath. We are friends. I'm just showing you to the kitchen, so in the future you can come in here, make yourself more at home. The others are too preoccupied, so don't. If you prefer not to be touched.
Oh
That's
no,
okay.
it's. I'm fine. I'm just
Terrified.
terrified. No,
Okay.
terrified of what exactly? Of you?
Well, no, physical affection. Every time I touch you, you seem to just stiffen.
Well, you are the first person who has held me in a non-medical setting in. Oh, how long ago does the war end? Are we on 10 months now? So it's a little unfamiliar.
Understood. Understood.
I'm not afraid, but you were the first person who to hold me in any way. So, it is just unfamiliar, and just going to kind of straighten up her kind of little jackety thing, her underdress. I am relearning.
Okay. I will be very gentle. Don't worry. With that, Aminata is going to. With that, Aminata is going to let go and just tackle themselves back into the kitchen while grabbing loaves of bread, some butter, and just pointing. Sylvia's in there you can get some, I don't know, some apricots, and essentially Aminata's doing what their mom would do, and that is just host, and they're just gathering all the cold cuts of food and just bring up plates upon plates while the two sorcerers are poured over the dining table.
Yeah, Sylvia every so often she'll maybe some, I don't know, do you want anything sweeter? Or I don't have much of a sweet tooth myself, but I is there anything in particular that you think that I should get?
There should be some honey just above you there on the shelf, and then if you go 2 shelves below, there may be some jam of some sort. The cook tends to keep a fairly stocked kitchen, so we need to be very careful to leave this place in the same exact state we found it.
So Sylvia's just taking a little bit of lots of stuff, that kind of, but not leaving everything exactly where it was.
Oh God!
Oh, I'm absolutely getting Campaign 1 vibes here. This is so good.
Mm-hmm. The cheese.
The cheese and the wine.
So,
with Favours and Steen, Favours would cast a alchemical scribe to just start writing down everything that we are noticing and looking, and then it would also include any of the in-between notes that we would say or the little bits of conversation we'd have. And I was like, don't worry, I'll edit that out later. This is just easier.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So all the goss, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
All the tea.
Well, so how the spell works is that you enchant a number of blank pages that you would have on your person, and there's no pen involved. The words just start appearing written on the page of what you're saying. It's perfect dictation. Okay. I have one question for you, Favours. What language would it be written in?
Well, okay, actually, this is something I wanted to ask last time, and I kept forgetting. But what language are we all speaking in common?
You're currently all speaking French.
Okay, then it would be French, just because it would be between both Favours and Justine.
Mm-hmm. No, I was just, but because you cast a spell, would, even though you're speaking in French, would it be writing in French? Is my question.
I hadn't considered that.
Yeah.
Because I think in my native tongue when I'm speaking one language.
Okay, so then if it doesn't have to write in the language that I'm speaking.
Not necessarily.
Okay, so then it would be taking what both Justine and I are saying, but it would write it down in Arabic.
That's what I thought. So yeah. So Justine, you
very
see
sneaky move.
This beautiful, elegant Arabic script appearing on the page, but you can't read any of it, of course, because
Justine would just be like.
You're quite the polyglot, but you can't read any of it. So yeah.
It's okay. I'll take old-fashioned notes. I'll take old-fashioned notes in Dutch.
Well, you can teach me Dutch, and I'll teach you Arabic.
There's the flex here happening between the two of them.
Okay, so Can I have both of you give me intellect, arcane, lore rolls, please?
Okay. That's a +2 for me.
Plus your intellect, so it's +6.
Plus into +6.
I think it's the same for you, Justine, isn't it? Yeah, it is +6 as well.
24.
Okay, and Justine?
30-20.
Okay, right.
You're so smart, both of you. My goodness.
I'll say that with that studying and that time that you're spending, you feel like you're getting a nice understanding, like, of the stuff like that you're examining. You're getting some nice insights into some of the magics. It is like on a high level, you know. Obviously, I'm not like you're not going to be able to make stuff up anytime soon, but you do like. It's definitely kind of giving you a greater level of insight into what the enchantments themselves were, and looking and better ideas, particularly for you, Favours, because you do have an artificer's background of like kind of getting an idea of like how the enchantments are being placed on the objects. Okay. So, is there anything else that happens? Any other conversations that people want to have, or do we want to just the party goes to bed for the night and then the next day goes to Madame Gaultier?
I'm happy for just
Yeah.
like chit chat, little goss.
Yeah.
I can give people the lowdown as to some of the best places around Paris and where I intend to take them, and just kind of get really excited and be like, oh, there's this place. Oh, the coffee here is so beautiful. The pastries, oh, to die for, divine. And then just like rattling off all these things like at breakneck speed, and then being like, that's a lot of information.
I have actually another question. Like,
Mhm.
whereabouts in Paris would your house be, Aminata?
It would be fairly central because we'd need to have easy access to different ambassadors' homes and different.
Right. Yeah. Cool.
I think what we said was that you were in you're in a pretty nice part of the city, but we're not talking the super crazy wealthy elite sections.
Oh
of the
yeah.
city.
No.
It's like posh middle class, if you know what I mean. You know, right? So, you all go to
Kind of
bed.
Murray kind of a thing, like,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, you all go to bed. I don't think anybody actually managed. Did anybody get actually injured? I know some
Yes.
people's.
I got injured because the rose bushes
Oh,
got a
the
nip.
rose bushes. That's right.
Yeah, me too.
Sylvia,
I
you.
Some damage from the rose bushes too.
Well,
Mhm.
I assume Sylvia would
Rose
heal
bushes.
everybody before they go to bed.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh yeah.
It
he
wasn't.
didn't take much damage.
I
So.
wasn't significant. It was.
wasn't a lot.
I
It
think.
was a flesh wound.
Yeah, I think Justine's dignity got injured in the library more than any physical injuries.
The book.
I can't do shit
just
for that.
dignity,
Sorry.
it's the
Emotional-
trust that got-
Emotional
Yeah.
damage
Emotional
was taken.
damage. Yes.
It
That
will take
is
a lot
emotional
more
damage.
than
Sylvia,
Yeah.
can your
spell.
healing help
No.
emotional
No,
wounds?
it cannot.
No.
So,
That is
I
you
mean,
have-
the
you-
betrayal is
restoration
deep.
spell might help, but the scars are forever, I think.
Yeah.
I think in the middle of writing the notes about the items, both Justine and Favours would be gossiping about the book and what it might have contained and the friends that were lost.
Well,
Definitely discussing like terrible treachery, basically. Absolutely, yeah.
Can we ever trust books?
the next morning you get up, you have
Trees are
breakfast, and you all, unless you have anything else to do, you head to Madame Gaultier's store. Okay. So you get to her shop about 10 o'clock. All right, and you walk in, door opens, the little bell ringing, and she's just sitting there. She's writing in a ledger. There's no customers in the shop. And looking up, she says, "Ah, bonjour.
Bonjour.
How are we all today?
Oh, bien.
Alive, I see.
Well, we survived our recent adventure,
Mhm.
and we are here with our spoils.
Oh, wonderful. So, can I see what it was that you found?
Mina and the purse.
Oh yeah, Mina's just gonna up and no, she won't upend the purse because she has other shit in there. But like, she take out one by the other, and by the other she puts everything out on the counter. That's
My,
good.
that was quite the haul. And you see her waving her hands over the items as she casts both Justine and Favours. You immediately recognize it as detect magic as she's identifying the objects. She's like, yes, that's what I thought. Oh, interesting. You didn't happen to see a sword in there, did you?
No, we
It's a
found
sore
the
spot.
scabbard,
Don't. Yeah.
Oh well.
not the sword.
Oh, these glasses are lovely, and oh my, this book is very special. Hmm, it's quite a rare book, in fact.
Question.
Hmm.
Did the sorcerers willingly part with this book? Because I feel like it would be a
You
bit
said
of a...
everything. I repeatedly asked you
Look,
all, and you
I know
That's
said
what I kept saying,
everything.
guys.
Favours wanted to keep stuff.
But
I
We
want
all
to
wanted
keep
to keep
stuff.
stuff.
but you didn't
I
tell me
thought
what
you
you
had
You all
to
wanted.
get.
wanted to. You all said
Yeah,
like
I
we put everything there,
repeatedly asked
so we
you.
put
Yeah.
everything there.
No one listed any item that you wanted to keep, and I repeatedly
So
asked
get the
you.
NPC to
I
get a +1 and resolve.
I
Like, you
did
know, I don't
say
care. Don't
I
need it.
I did say I wanted to keep the scabbard. Like,
Sorry, you did. Oh, you did say that, but then there was a conversation about the sword being
Yeah, but
missing,
then we
and
had
you
the
were saying you had to go
conversation, and then
back.
you
And
specifically
And then
yeah,
everyone
kept
said,
saying like we
we'll
have to
show
be
everything
honest.
and just
So
hope.
yeah. Also, you
Yes,
did also
Tatiana, I think is
concede.
right. You said we'd show
Yeah.
everything.
yeah,
You did also concede that you probably weren't going to go back and try and find the sword. So
but I
yeah,
can still keep the scabbard. It might fit another sword.
it may, not likely to.
yeah, but you were also saying like honesty, honesty, honesty.
So she
So
says.
we put
So she says to
everything
us,
there. So it's too
right.
late for this conversation now.
Well, so this is what you found. Was there any particular items that you had been thinking you might like to keep yourselves? What would you
The
be
book.
considering
Yes,
offering
we
in
had in the
trade,
interest of
or?
honesty just wanted to show you what we found, but
Mhm.
I think there are some items we would very much like to keep.
Okay, and they are.
I'd like to keep the scabbard, please.
D'accord.
I know it is a legendary item or a very rare item, but we would like to keep the book.
I would like to examine it if I could, but to be perfectly honest with you, while I suppose it would be useful for myself, it's not the kind of item that most people would be interested in acquiring.
Mm.
There are other such tomes
Such
that
that are more
are
appropriate for a sorcerer such as yourself.
no,
Or...
just in general that people might be interested in acquiring. These enchantments are very rare. I've never heard of a human artificer being able to construct one of these items. Only ever Fae. But I would like to study it even just for a little bit if I could. But by all means. So the scabbard and the book.
Sorry,
Also,
were we also thinking the moon dust? Because
the moon dust, Gwynn has something that would work with very well. I was also considering maybe, I'm not sure if you'd have interest in the tincture of speed. I think that would be something potentially useful for me. But it all depends on what the party think. We are a team after all.
Amina's just gonna peep up and say like, could I keep that strength beer? Because that's all she heard last night. She doesn't know what it's called. She just knows strong beer. And that's what she's going to call it from now on. It's strength beer. So
Strong beer or strength beer. Can I
So
just keep a very, very strong beer,
what you are
please?
offering me is these sunflower sparks and the glasses of true sight.
We
I personally have no use for them. Does anyone else want them?
Who,
the sparks might be interesting in I suppose, but not surely not all three of them. But I don't know what use we could get out of them.
Who wants to give me a persuasion roll?
I will. I've got good charm.
Yeah,
We do need
let's
to
look,
hand
yeah.
some of it over, I
Let her.
think, in fairness.
Mhm.
Sorry. but I think
There's
we-
also the ruby, silver, gold, whatever.
Well, as I said, she had when she talked to you about it, she didn't say anything
I
about
actually didn't
mundane
want
treasures.
the silver and gold, yeah, I suppose.
Is there anything that she actually? Yeah, I want
Yeah,
to.
is there anything she wants we could ask her?
Yeah, I want to see if Aminata would have noticed if she lingered a bit longer on some things over other ones, using
You would have noticed
my
that, I suppose.
using my it's not behavioralist.
Yeah, you have the eye for that. Like
The
Mina doesn't
insight.
notice
That would
shit.
behavior. It's just
hidden
so
insight
for
or
you,
something.
it would just be which you don't have your conversation as you have the other one.
My revealing insight.
Yeah, well, we'll see. So this would be a awareness roll with your keen eyes, and we'll see how well you roll.
Okay, so that is my 15, 18.
I'll say that that's a high enough roll that you can.
Oh, could I
activate.
use my wordsmith?
That's more for you persuading others. You know, you'd add that to
Yeah, I
persuasion
suppose.
and deception rolls.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and she was actually you kind of see she did seem to be kind of interested in the scabbard actually, and she was kind of interested in the moon dust as well.
I am happy to part with the moon dust.
And if you'd
Who's
like,
your darling?
if you'd like to study the scabbard, and I could retrieve it at a later time, I'm also quite happy with that arrangement.
That would be very very good. And then I suppose you'd be looking to sell the sunflower sparks and the glasses of true sight. Yes.
I look around.
I think so.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, but what of the moon dust? Are you interested in that?
I mean, it would go very well with the lamp that I purchased from you before, but it
would.
can be found again.
Well, it is somewhat difficult to come by because it's made from silver mined from the Fey realm itself. You see, this is the funny thing. For myself, something like this is very useful to maybe give to adventurers that I'm hiring to go exploring Fey mounds and the likes. But you would be one of the parties of adventurers that I would be possibly hiring to do these jobs for anyway. So
If you hire us, we already have our moon dust. So,
that is
you know.
true. That is very true.
Well, perhaps we could split it. Some could be for study and some could be for use.
Oh, I don't need to like the issue with moondust isn't its manufacture, it's the rarity. I will not be venturing into the Fey realm to get silver anytime soon. It's traditionally gotten through trade with Arcadia, and trade between France and Arcadia is not that good at the moment. You can also get it from the northern territory of Jotunheim, but
I don't think they were very impressed with France entering the war with fate
well,
creatures.
look,
No?
I'll be honest with you. I have very few trade connections with Jotunheim. Most of my Fey trade connections were with Arcadia because obviously it's closer. So it's not a case of me studying the moon dust. There's actually not much by the enchantment of it is quite simple because it uses such a rare material in its construction.
Well, if you agree to hire us again for a few more jobs, we will promise to use it only for adventures involving you and your business.
Oh, that seems reasonable, I suppose. So then,
And maybe we could find more moon dust,
Yes.
in the future.
So we'll say then I would pay you for the glasses of true sight and the sunflower sparks, and Amanat is kindly allowing me to study the scabbard, but obviously it is hers. So for those items, how does the sum of 200 gold sound?
Gwynn kind of is taken aback and pretends not to be. That would be perfect.
Is that a good price, or is
Is
she?
that-
Fu-
is
I-
that-
is it a good? I
Sounds
don't know.
like a lot
Yeah,
of
hang on.
price.
How much?
That's
Hang on a second. Hang on a second. Now,
We all short circuit.
how much did you, Paulina? How much did you pay for your, or Justine rather? I don't know who I've been speaking to. I was thinking of somebody else. Who you look very spitting image of. No. How much did you pay for your mana receptacle?
300.
They are a different item now, in fairness.
They're very rare. Not very. They're either rare or
They're
very rare.
Very rare as far as I
And
remember.
you paid just as much, didn't you, Sylvia?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no. So my question is just because it was that much for one thing.
Two things for 200. That doesn't sound like a good price.
I'm just
you
wondering,
do-
are we
I-
getting
I-
fucked over?
I will say the like the sunfire sparks, they're very small consumable items. You know, they're basically
Yeah,
they're basically a
considering
magical.
they were just
Sorry, they're basically a magical
we
flash
need a
grenade.
list of. Yeah.
Also considering that we just like bullied her into keeping like 70% of the stuff. I think modesty is kind of a good approach to this.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair.
Okay, we'll
Yeah.
take the loss.
Yeah.
We'll
Let's
take
take
that
it.
loss.
Let's take it. We need to get like a price list with stuff so we kind of know.
Somebody needs to get better at appraising.
Yeah.
Maybe the rogue.
Which will be you.
I know. I've been too busy being sneaky.
with your shady shit.
Yes.
No, I think we did well there. No, I think we can do it.
Yeah. All right.
But the amber pieces, derivative jewelry, and all that stuff, we could ask her, like, would you know where
I'm
we
going
could sell
to-
that to a good price?
Mina.
I'm going to like, as this discussion is happening and hearing the price, I'll take a look at Madame Gaultier and tell her, well, while some of these items seem pretty simple, they still are of goblin make, of a goblin who's up and vanished. So I think that in turn might give it a bit more up in value. What would you think about 300?
Okay, you can give me a persuasion roll, Favours, with advantage. So that's an additional +5.
Ooh,
And
go Favours.
You're getting advantage because
Yeah,
Madame
I know.
Gaultier knows you. You are working with her.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's you only have a charm of 1, so it's a +6 to the roll.
Okay. So I roll 1 die and plus 6.
1d20 and it's +6.
Okay, that's a dirty 20.
Woo.
That's 26.
That's
Bloody hell. That is a great roll.
hmm
how about we say 280?
Oh, well, are we going to split the difference on 20 gold? Let's keep it 300.
Okay. I can't say no to a pretty face.
Oh,
Favours MVP.
I'm
Now
not
we
it's
just
just
all are negotiating in the future.
yes. I'm not just gonna like playfully nudge Favours to try and avoid like just kind of jumping out like. Ooh.
Yes, Sylvia is like stone faced.
Yeah. Right. Now she says, "Well, this was a very, very good, very good business transaction for us all, I believe." So, Gwynn, would you be free this evening to join me for dinner?
I absolutely would love
Of
to.
course you would.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. So, having gotten what you think is a pretty good deal, keeping the majority of the magic items, so we will have to discuss who's holding on to what. Although I think I think everything that you have is consumable, except the scabbard, which you've left with Madame Gaultier.
And the tome?
The tome is considered a consumable
Yeah.
because you read it to. It is like it has a it recharges, but it is considered a consumable. So the Horn of Troll Strength, the Tincture of Fairy Speed,
Strength beer. We love it.
these are all the Moondust as well. They're all consumable items, so they don't count towards your power points
Oh,
for
nice.
for holding magic items. The scabbard, the elf scabbard, would have been the only thing, so that would have counted towards power points. But
Well, I'll count out the gold that we have, and between that and the 150 we found, that is 75 for
450.
everybody.
and then don't forget that some of those I think I did give you the monetary value of the
Yeah, for the
gems
gems.
as well. So
Yes.
so
We need to go and sell these, yeah.
well,
But so we got 450 gold altogether. So 150 plus we're getting 300 from Madame Gaultier. 450. So we're assuming we're splitting that.
well,
75.
well, while ye are discussing that, I think this is a perfect place to take a pause in our story. We will be back in 5 minutes' time, folks. So don't go away anywhere, and we shall talk to you all soon.
Yeah, I'm gonna log on to Twitch. I want to see this chat.
Fey Earth is a
That is
tabletop
75
role-playing game
each,
set
and I
in an
think,
alternate
Amina-
19th century Earth, where all the creatures from folklore and fairy tale are real, have always been real, and live openly alongside humanity. It is a game based heavily on folklore, in which the Fae and magical beings depicted are as they were described in the original stories from whence they came. This means, when you play Fey Earth, you will find yourself coming across many creatures whose names are very familiar, but whose appearance, personalities, and powers are very different from what you might be used to. It is a world, however, in which the Fae have developed alongside humanity, and while in many ways they are similar in how they appeared in fairy tales, in other ways they are also advanced in a similar fashion to humans. This means that as well as finding fairies and dryads living in nature, you will also find centaur cavalry and dwarven riflemen. The world of Fey Earth is one in which most people try to avoid the Fae, treating them with a healthy respect at a distance. But you will still find people who wish to adventure, exploring abandoned Fey mounds, hoping to find treasure and lost magic. There are two playable lineages in Fey Earth, a mundane human and the Fey Touched. These are humans who have Fey in their ancestry and who carry some of this magical blood in them, which grants them minor magical abilities as well as physical differences to other humans. There are also 7 playable professions in this game. As you explore the world of Fey Earth, you will find parts of it that are familiar to our historical 19th century, but other areas that are original. These include Fey nations such as Jotunheim in the north above Norway, Sweden and Finland, in which can be found the dark-skinned northern dwarfs, as well as the ice giants and trolls. Jotunheim trades with human nations, exchanging their lumber, dwarven steelworks and other products, for food and goods that are not so easily obtained in the frozen north. As well as the Fey nations in Europe, within human civilizations you will find Magitech, the merging of machines with the arcane, both to help drive this new industrial age, as well as the everyday lives of ordinary individuals. The artificers of human towns and cities spend their days making magically powered devices for both the capitalists running factories and the housewives and labourers of society, although they will also make items for adventurers who have enough coin. Fey Earth uses a simple D20 system, similar to other popular D20 tabletop role-playing games. It has a very simple set of mechanics with 8 ability scores. Your score in an ability is your modifier to your dice roll, as well as other modifiers for having relevant skills and talents. This creates a very simple set of mechanics using flat modifiers that is easy and quickly learned. Fey Earth classes. The Druids, who learn magic through their connection with nature, are especially skilled in dealing with the Fae and also specialize in a specific element for which they have a great affinity. When they are performing magics using that particular element, they are even more powerful. The Mystics. These religious spellcasters gain their connection with magic either through praying to their gods or through their connection with ancestral spirits. The Mystics also have access to a wide range of magic, though many become gifted healers. Mystics often take a sacred vow, through which they try to better guide their own actions. These vows grant them additional boons and spells. The fighter is a profession which seems simple on the surface, but is one which provides a great degree of customization. Fighters specialize in combat feats. These are special maneuvers they train in, which they can use in combat to tailor their actions, allowing them to cause greater injuries or deflect attacks against themselves or their allies. A fighter's chosen weapon develops as they do, its power increasing as the character advances. The gunslinger. In this late 19th century world, guns have become a very important aspect of combat. Gunslingers are highly trained fighters who specialize in the use of firearms. Gunslingers learn additional skills, allowing them to perform a wide range of special maneuvers in combat, making them master ranged fighters. The sorcerer. Sorcerers are the academics of the magical world. While druids and mystics will train with their religious orders, most sorcerers learn magic by studying it in universities or by becoming an apprentice. Sorcerers view magic like a mathematical science. They often learn new spells through experimentation or research, though this may lead to magical mishaps with temporary or sometimes permanent effects. The rogues are a mixed profession. Skilled in subterfuge and stealth, but also able to handle themselves in a fight. Unlike other professions, when playing a rogue, you can choose at a higher level to take a specific archetype. This enhanced training gives the rogue additional skills, talents, and feats. Alternatively, there is a Shadowcaster archetype, which gives the rogue access to spells from the spheres of twilight and chaos. The Witch. While a magical profession, unlike other spellcasters, witches draw their magic from physical objects, using plants, herbs, household materials, and even animal parts in casting their spells. Witches are also able to make amulets they can use to aid themselves or their allies. The amulets have a variety of functions, though most provide various forms of protection or defense. As the witch grows in power, so too do the amulets they create. We hope to have sparked your interest, and we look forward to welcoming you to this world of folklore, fairy tale, and magic. Welcome to Fae Earth.
Okay. Right. So, hello, folks, and welcome to Fae Earth. When last we left the heroes, they had gone to visit the beautiful artificer Madame Gaultier to do some haggling over some enchanted items that they had found. That's weird. Why is everybody moved around on the overlay?
Oh, I am now
somebody
you
dropped in the
see.
break.
Because, yeah, Neve dropped.
Yeah,
Oh,
I X'd out of it by accident.
okay, right. Sorry, folks. I'm going to just move people around very quickly. I don't know. Yeah.
At the moment,
so-
well, we all impersonate each other for a few
We should
moments.
do that at least once on stream. That if this happens, we need to start just being that character until the next time it switches
I
again.
think
Yes.
I think
I don't think I can do a French accent.
I'm sure you
I'm-
can.
I don't know how to do any accent except the
I'm with
confused
you.
accent that is my own.
yeah, I'm with you. Neil was terrorizing us for a bit about doing a musical episode. So instead
I
of a
think it'd be
musical
brilliant.
episode, Instead of a
would
musical
love-
episode.
I
would
want to do
love-
a
I see
musical episode.
Thank you,
I'm down.
thank you.
I am down for musical episode.
No.
In the style of the greatest TV
No.
episode of all time, from
No.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
No.
Yes.
Once more feeling, I want a
Traitors.
musical.
Yeah, except like
want
so many
a
shows
musical
have tried to
episode.
do that,
It's
and
the
it's been
musical
so
episode.
bad
No.
every time.
No.
I can't sing. I'm terrible, but I'd still do it.
No.
I can sing.
I can
Yeah.
sing.
Yeah.
I can sing
Susie's
as
a
well. I got a
soprano
ton
as
of
well.
free
We've
beer.
got 3 good singers in the
The
group.
issue,
I
but
got a ton
no.
of free beer at a reenactment event once for singing.
Myself and Christina will
Hugs
bring the
off a
comedy.
random old man
Okay.
who was
I
a
see
kid,
how it
but
is.
That was
Yeah.
strange.
So we could get good cameras and try and get
No,
it like
singing is not the issue. It's
Yeah.
just like, no.
it'd be
absolutely
amazing.
not.
It'd be amazing.
No.
Let's
Speak for
Never,
yourself, please.
ever
It
drunk
is,
enough
it is
It would
the
be
issue.
terrible.
go,
It
no.
I
is.
do think
I'm
it
not
would be
the
terrible.
issue.
No.
It'd be so good.
I can never be drunk enough to go to karaoke. Never mind
I hear ya.
Beckon singing on
karaoke
a
is like
bloody
my
stream.
favorite thing. I love it. so
Okay,
much.
let us get back to our story, okay? So, when last we left the heroes, they were gone to Madame Gaultier's to do some haggling over some enchanted items that they had found when exploring the apparently or supposedly abandoned home of a goblin artificer. Actually choosing to keep most of the items, but they did sell 2 items to Madame Gaultier for what they felt was a decent enough price, partially thanks to the haggling from Favours, who has a background in artificery, having briefly worked for Madame Gaultier herself and also being an apprentice to an artificer in Constantinople. So having a slightly better idea of just how much these items would actually be worth. All right. The party then leaves. They have a few errands to run. Sylvia, you said that you wanted to go to the post office. You are sending some money to your sister, yes?
I know, I'm
You're
sorry.
mute.
I just want to send it to Sam. I'm going to send. Oh, I find it really hard to have an idea of what's a good amount. Of,
Well, don't
like,
forget,
what's
as I
not
say,
really-
8 to 10 silver was the average weekly salary of a factory worker.
You
Okay,
could easily send her 5 gold.
Went to my sister. No,
Yeah.
I'm going to send her like 50 gold.
Okay.
Because
That's
she's my
the
sister.
equivalent
An
of
awful lot.
nearly a
You-
year's wages for a factory worker.
You said you had no idea what to send. So
To put it
Yeah,
in
okay.
Just to put it, you're looking at. I mean,
No.
obviously, you were from a more middle class merchants background, so would have been wealthier.
Wow.
But yeah,
Not
your
that
family
well.
had
Okay.
had a market stall in Berlin, so you were merchants.
Yeah.
But like 50
Yeah.
gold is about about a year's wages for a factory worker. Now, obviously, factory workers were at the bottom of society, but just to
Yeah.
give context.
Okay, I'm going to send her, say, yeah.
Whatever
no,
you want.
well,
Just,
pick.
I'm just giving
Yeah.
you context because
Roll dice.
well, okay, I'm going to,
roll,
yeah, that's a great
roll
idea.
roll a percentile die.
Do I have a percentile die?
But just
Give
roll
me-
a
sorry.
roll a d20 3 times.
Or yeah, because
Add them together and send
it
them.
is a problem with other systems whereby once you start getting any gold, money loses all meaning because
It really,
Yeah.
really does.
you have like
does.
thousands and thousands of gold, and the
So
average
that's
farmer is like
16.
paying it in coppers.
Plus 17. Plus 21. I'm going to say 30 gold. I'm going to send her.
Okay, cool.
And I'd like to include a letter, but you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
the letter's just going to be,
I'm alive.
I'm
I'm not dead.
alive.
I'm alive. This is for you,
I-
love you, bye.
This is for you and your family, and I hope to hear from you soon. I've been in touch with Heinrich. I have an arcanogram, and I'm reachable on this glyph as well.
Cool.
I love you, and please do not tell mother and father that you have heard from me. So yeah, it's gonna be.
Let us say you still kind of went as well and sort of did the same thing.
Yeah.
I'd say seeing Sylvia sending like 30 gold, she's probably also going to send 30 gold, and the letter is pretty much has the same content to her family, saying basically, "Hi, I'm alive, staying with Aminata. You remember her? Hug Jan from me."
Yeah, more like, "Hi, mom, dad, love you." More like, "Please don't tell our parents that I'm like in contact with you in a life because, you know.
The difference of sort of supportive family versus Sylvia's parents.
And if we can say that, Fredo's went along. Fredo's just joins them out of not having much else to do, to socialize, sends nothing to anyone, and just says, well, so my family don't know I'm in Paris, and I'm leaving it that way.
Oh, my parents hopefully think I am still dead. So, you know,
Oh,
I can.
Jesus.
I dyed my hair to just be harder to find.
I can relate to this.
Oh, a secret.
So
My
while-
parents have not been happy with many of decisions that I have made, despite doing my best to work hard and be a good daughter. And in the end, I had to leave. So, but then the war happened. So I had not planned to disappear, but this is how things went. So
I understand.
but I have a sister that I care about who has children and probably more than she had when I left, and I want to make sure that they are provided for, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how she's going to feel about hearing from me. It has been a while, and
Well, she'll see that you're sending money, and so you're well enough to spare that much. So hopefully she'll just be happy that you are doing well.
I hope so. My brother was happy to hear from me, so I am hoping she will be too. It has been hard to enter society again, you know. So, but as for not wanting to be found, I can understand that.
Right. So while they're doing that Amanada, you have some gems and precious and semi-precious stones that you found, but you do know some jewelers because your family would have purchased jewelry from them in the past that you're like, I could go to these people. They know my family. They'll give me a good deal. They won't screw me over, you know?
Hmm. And plus, if they want to try and screw me over, I will definitely flirt my way into more money if I need to.
Well, the thing is, they know themselves like your family are good customers, so they're not going to want to in any way jeopardize that relationship.
I will tell my mom.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, which is one of the most terrifying things that, you know, wealthy bourgeois people can say.
Oh, please. It's like, do you know who I
Yes. So you go off and you do that. You get the prices that I quoted for the ruby and for the 5 pieces of amber, which I think the 5 pieces of amber I think I said were 20 gold each, was it?
20 each? Yeah.
And the
So
ruby was it 80? I can't remember.
100.
100. Okay,
No.
so
Yeah. let
yeah,
me
that
just-
sounds about right. So you're getting an additional
you said
200
100.
gold. Cool. Okay.
Mhm.
Right. Okay, so yeah, you spend the rest of the day pottering around doing different things, and at about 6:30, Gwynn, some silvery font appears in front of you. It's from Madame Gaultier saying, I hope you are well, very excited to see you. Can you please give me the address to send my carriage?
Bow, chicka, bow, wow.
Yes, and I will politely ask Aminata for her address, and if it's okay to share it with Madame Gaultier because of Aminata's business.
Oh, of course. Please, I'm not just going to give Gwen the address and say, do you need anything? Would you like a bath drawn for you? Do you need a change of clothes? Like, is there anything at all? Please do ask.
Not at all. She can take me as I am.
Okay, right.
Thank you,
So,
though. You're very kind.
an hour later, there is a knock on the door, and there is a moment later, the housemaid comes in and says, there is a carriage for Ms. Gwen. I can never pronounce this. Elvendale.
That's me. Thank you so much.
Okay, and there's
Don't wait up.
a very, very, very fancy looking carriage outside
Oh,
with a very well dressed footman and driver as well.
she got
Oh,
money.
well, you already know she is an exceptionally wealthy woman, you know. Artificers generally, if artificers are doing well, they do very well. Okay? They're not just spending their time making goblin sparks and enchanted sewing needles for housewives. The really good ones are also working with industrialists making magitech for industry, and that makes a lot of money. So, you are
Gwyn
drawn
is actually going to wear the lovely
the
piece of
lovely,
jewelry.
fabulous brooch that you were given.
Yes.
Right, so you get into the carriage, and it's gone for about 40 minutes into a different part of the city. It's another extremely fancy, very wealthy part of the city. Like, all these houses are big houses. All the people in them are clearly people with a lot of money. Okay, and yeah, eventually the carriage pulls up in front of this very, very fine house. It's not a terrace; it's like a fully detached house with a small grounds around it, quite large. Like, it's 4 stories high and quite wide as well. Okay, and the footman comes out and opens the door, hand extended for you to alight. And when you get up, there is actually a very well dressed butler waiting at the front door for you. And as you come up to the front door, he bows deeply and says, good evening, mademoiselle,
Good
and
evening.
gestures for you to come
Thank
in
you.
and lead you in. This is a fabulous house. There's a beautiful grand hallway. There's doors off to the right and to the left. A lovely rich carpeted floor. There's fine paintings along the sides of the walls. There's very beautiful wood paneling and wallpaper as well. You see fine simple chandeliers, which are clearly made enchanted. There's no candles here. Everything is being produced by enchanted light. And he leads you through and into a very, very fine dining room. And as he comes in, pauses, announcing you, Mademoiselle Gwynn Elvendale and Madame Gaultier. She's sitting there by the table, already laid out, ready for a meal to be served and stuff like there. She immediately gets up, comes up to you, takes your hands. It's so wonderful to see you, my dear. You're breathtaking. And oh, you're wearing the brooch. Oh, I'm so happy. And gives you a big kiss.
My dear, this is just wonderful. And of course I am.
Please, please, please.
Thank you so much again for this
I,
present.
I'm so glad that you like it. I really am. And she leads you down. I'm not going to go and do a Giorgio or a Martin through the many courses, but suffice it to say, you have an absolutely exquisite meal. It is one of the nicest meals you've ever had.
Ooh.
In fact, one of the only meals that you remember to rival it was in the Elven Palace
Mhm.
that you
That was
were
my
in
next
before.
question. Was it
Okay.
better than the ship we got it with Moraine?
Not better, but close to as good as when you were
Mhm.
dining with the elven noblewoman back in
Very
Cheviot.
Well,
Okay.
that was quite delicious, my dear.
Oh,
Rivals a meal I had with an elf not too long ago, I would say.
oh, I'd love to hear about that sometime. You know, I've only ever met a handful of elves myself. They're such a fascinating and beautiful race of people. So powerful.
That they are. That they are.
Mhm.
I'll regale her with the story of the elves in Cherville.
Yeah, well, she loves it. She absolutely loves the story. Which elves do you tell her about, Moraine or her
Oh,
sister?
I'll tell her all the details.
Oh, okay. She's very impressed to
Leave them all
hear.
out there, the good and the bad and the spicy.
So she is
All the
very impressed
details.
to hear that her current paramour was briefly the paramour of an elf.
Oh, I know she'd be impressed by
Yeah,
that.
very
Absolutely.
impressed by that. Okay,
Mhm.
and right, she says, well, finally they bring out a lovely dessert. And it's kind of like it's a collection of pastries, and there's a little sorbet as well. And then just as they're taking that away to bring out the coffee, she says, "Oh, and there's the one final treat for you." And the butler comes with a tray, and he puts down a small little box, finely wrapped.
My dear, you spoil me.
Please, please, please. It's just a little something.
These really aren't necessary, but I appreciate them. Thank you.
And so you open it up. It's another brooch, but this is more. It's a cameo style brooch, but it's a bit different because a normal cameo, it's a silhouette of a woman's head, usually in like a silver filigree that you'd pin. But instead of the normal silver filigree, it's actually set into a much wider base, silver itself, that is in the shape of a cauldron.
How do you know? It's
Look at.
perfect.
Give me an awareness roll, will you?
I will. And that is a 16, and my awareness is a grand total of 1, so that's a 17.
Okay, so you're looking at it and you're like, you're not quite sure what the cameo itself is made from. It looks like ivory, but it's just a slightly more a richer tone than ivory that you've seen in the past. And you were previously living in Bristol, wasn't it? Or
In
Exeter. Yeah, sorry. So, which is a port city, so you would have gotten some ivory trade coming in there. You would have seen it a bit, So, like, this looks like ink. Like, you're not sure. It's like, is it ivory? It seems to be exceptionally fine to be ivory.
Wow, this is exotic. Dare I ask what it's made from?
It's actually made from the horn of a narwhal. Have you ever heard of a narwhal before?
I have. I remember the sailors down at the docks talking about these legendary sea creatures, but I thought they were stories.
No. I mean, it's funny because their horn looks like the horn of a unicorn, and like for centuries, sailors from the northern colder lands would, when hunting these narwhal for food, would then sell the horns to people looking for unicorn horns. But
Yes.
I like, while most of my connections are here in Arcadia, I do know a few people who would have some connections in Jotunheim, and so I would know some people who trade in these kind of wares.
Well, it is stunning.
Well, I'm
The cauldron
glad.
couldn't be more appropriate.
Please, it's
You know me
just it's just a simple gesture of my affections for you. That's all.
Really, you are too kind. And Gwynn will give her a kiss.
Right. So we're not going to go into graphic details. But you do eventually retire for the evening. A very, very. You don't rest much. Okay.
Good.
We'll just say that. Okay. And after round 3, you're lying there relaxing when you see some light appearing on one of the side tables, just like glowing light. And she gets up for a second and she picks up, it's an arcanogram that was left down. You see her looking at it and she's kind of frowning slightly, and
What is it? Is everything okay?
oh, it's fine, it's fine. You don't need to worry yourself. It's just some business matters, and it's just some men who I'm working with are being bothersome and
Bothersome men, you say?
well, I mean, I don't just hire beautiful women to do jobs for me, of course, I would have numerous different adventurers employed.
With the lesser sex, I understand.
Yes, to do work for me. This particular group, they were exploring a Fey mound, similar to the contract that I had given you and your friends previously, and they've come back, and we were supposed to arrange to meet up. They were originally supposed to come to my store, and then they said they had to cancel, and it's been back and forth, and now they're saying that they'd like to meet tomorrow, but I already have a prior engagement tomorrow, and it's also very bothersome, really.
Well, men can be. My dear, never send a man to do a woman's job. We can meet them. I'm sure my companions won't mind.
Oh, please, I wouldn't want to put you out.
No, not at all. You've been so good to us.
Are you sure?
Well, I don't know what my companions' plans are, but I'm sure we can arrange something if you give me the details.
Oh, of course, you're so kind. You really are, truly. I'm so lucky to have found you.
Oh no, honestly, pleasure's all mine. Any excuse to terrorize some men is a good day for me, so it's not a problem at all.
You have a restlessly relaxing evening with Madame Gaultier, and eventually you fall asleep. And then the next morning you get up, you're treated to a wonderful breakfast, and then she says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I do have to get back to the store, back to my workshop soon, but I have some business that I have to deal with right now here. My carriage will drop you back to Aminata's residence."
Well, thank you for a wonderful evening. I will get out of your hair, and I will let you know when that business has been taken care of later.
Thank you, my dear. You are the kindest.
Not at all. And Gwynn will give her a kiss on the cheek, head to the
Mhm.
carriage, and head back to the group.
Okay. So, well, you get back to the group. Nobody ambushes the fancy carriage, and you get back to the party having finished breakfast.
I feel like as soon as you would walk in, it's sort of going to be like everyone just goes like, go on.
I will spill all the details.
Yes, please.
Is Mina in the room?
I don't know. Would Mina have gone to mass?
Mina actually, yeah, Mina has gotten up very early
And gone to find
and
a
isn't back
church.
yet.
Yeah.
Okay, it is probably best she does not hear the details, but the rest of the group
Yeah,
can get all the
yeah.
details.
She's quietly
Sylvia
touching
doesn't
you. So.
particularly want to. She's gonna just find something else to do. While this
It's
is
like,
going
oh,
on.
look at that paint. Oh, how
I'm just gonna not be there while this is happening. I'm good, thanks.
So as you kind of like talk about it and explain the evening, Favours is pretty fascinated. She's not hiding it. You can immediately get the sense that she doesn't often hear of such stories. It's a first time experience hearing things, and she's into it.
Yeah,
We're doing
for
research
Sylvia,
time.
for Sylvia, it's more happy for you, but also I don't want to hear about your wonderful happiness and
Yeah,
love
to be
and
honest,
stuff.
I think
It's just
Mm.
I just don't want to. I don't want to write. She doesn't want to like say anything that's gonna,
yeah, like Gwynn is
dampen it for you. But she also doesn't really want to hear about how wonderful and happy everything is for you, because like she's kind of not right now. So
she would kind of give Sylvia just a glance.
yeah, Sylvia's pretty stone faced, but she's just gonna get up and leave.
Okay.
No,
Christine,
Favours hasn't heard gossip like this. It's new.
About her boss, no less.
So how's Justine handling this?
Justine just likes her fairy dragon very much. That's what Justine is doing. Just bonding with the dragon, pretending nothing else exists.
Anglican is getting all the screeches right now.
Oh, I will also tell the group about this group of men who need to be taught a lesson. And I think we should perhaps help Madame Gaultier with this. I know she would be very grateful. I understand, though, it is, if you don't want to, that's fine. I'm certainly going to go. I would appreciate any help, but I understand that I agreed to this, and I will not drag any of you into it who don't want to go. That's absolutely
Gwynn,
fine.
I could never just leave you to go deal with a bunch of men that we know nothing about on your own. It would be very reckless.
I know terrible things will happen to them if I'm left unsupervised.
It's
Well,
true.
I suppose
It is true.
yes, there's that, but I think it's best if we all go, I suppose, as with more numbers, we'd have a better chance. You never know. They might also have a spell cast on their side, and if it's 3 of them against you, you might be at a very bad disadvantage. And you are a guest in my house. I can't have you getting injured.
Well, I would be
Well,
grateful for your assistance. Absolutely.
Let's hope that it doesn't. Oh, Sylvia left, didn't she? She kind of
she
wanted.
did.
Yeah. Oh, Amanata is like, you can see Amanata is like grinning. She's like, oh, I love a good.
Love the spicy details.
Exactly. And they're like, Amanata would definitely be looking forward to something like this, so they can like flex their charm and get the way and be like, yeah, you're gonna leave Madame Gaultier alone.
No, it's more they're getting stuff. They need to get stuff from her. She needs to get stuff from them or something, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
We
we're
can-
gonna get the stuff. We're gonna get stuff, but then also gonna
Yeah.
tell them to leave her alone because
But
they've
I
been
don't think they're
harassing.
They haven't been harassing her, have they?
No, what she said was
More
that they're
job
just being
badly done.
difficult
finish it.
about meeting up with her to give her what they found in the family.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just sounds like they thought they could pull a fast one on her.
Oh, so we're gonna mug some dudes.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Oh,
Only
let's
if you-
go like talk to them and be like, and then they could be like, oh, sorry, I like slept in when alarm went off, but yeah, we'll totally go over and it'll be
Well,
fine.
Aminata is always
surfer dudes.
Aminata is always one to talk
Probably a
about
fucking
it
basis
first.
as well.
Talk about it first, and then steal later.
Mhm.
Fair. Fair. Good plan.
Favours, what do you think? Are you open to coming on more adventures with us?
Very much so, to be honest. Even though it was terrifying, going back to just tinkering in a shop sounds dreadful right now, even if it's Madame Gaultier's.
Of course. Aminata is just gonna be like really curious to be like, what's the deal here? I'm so curious, but yes. Do you have any details? What time are we supposed to meet? Where are we supposed to meet them?
I'll
She-
send Madame Gaultier a quick message on the Arcanagram.
Yeah. Okay. You do, and she says, "Oh, thank you for agreeing. They have asked to meet at this warehouse," and gives an address at 9 o'clock this evening. Aminata, you know this area. It's not the best part of the city. Lots of
Mhm.
warehouses, kind of shady. It's kind of near the docks, but it's not on the quays, you know.
Yeah.
So you're like, it's a slightly dodgy place to be meeting up when they could have just gone to her shop with the stuff that they found.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
So
They were definitely planning something.
yeah,
Mm.
something smells a bit fishy, and it's not the docks. Aminata is just going to look at Justine and say,
profile photo in the upper.
Sorry, that was something just automatic played.
Aminata is just going to look at Justine and say, you were quite quiet. You're going yes?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And
Presumably you get Sylvia and tell her she'll be fucking
oh yeah, when Sylvia and Mina come back, it'll be the same thing. Quick rundown of what's happening. We're going to, tell some dudes to chill and give us the ladies' stuff, or we will take the ladies' stuff.
Mhm.
The moment you hear the front door open and Mina comes back, she's just wearing like an, simple kind of blouse and hat, like trousers. Not what she usually would wear for church.
Well, Mina, how was the service today?
It's just, the usual. Thanks for asking. Everything okay here?
Well, and I'll regale her about the plans and see if she wants to come along.
Of course I want to come along.
Um,
What question is that?
Could I
Dodgy
tell-
area?
It is.
could I tell if Mina
Twigs
is
a strange
hiding
pose,
something?
though. Like Mina
Yeah.
normally dresses quite well
So-
when she goes off to a service, so that is strange.
You can give me an awareness roll, Favours. You can add your +1 for keen eyes as well. So this isn't one of your strong abilities. It's only a +2, but
Yeah. So I add a total of 2. Okay, so it's a 15, not high, but
you're not sure. You don't know Mina that well yet. You're not
Yeah.
entirely certain. Gwyn, I'm going to say, yeah, you probably. What's your awareness? It's not. You have an awareness of 1.
One.
I'd say all of the rest of the party, at the very least, notice that Mina seems slightly underdressed for what she because normally when she'd gone to mass every day, and she'd wear her good dress, she'd be wearing her
Yeah.
good clothes going, and it's like not that she's like dressed slovenly, but it's not the clothes you would normally wear when you
The
go to
usual.
class.
Yeah,
you-
weird for her to wear trousers going to.
Yeah, no, very weird to wear trousers going to mass for Mina.
Hmm.
Mina, did you go to mass today?
You know,
It's okay. I'm not going to judge.
Amanada wants to see if they can figure out if Mina is lying.
That would be
Mina has finally come to
Well,
the
yeah.
dark side.
Not to try and get any
That's-
details, but just
awareness.
awareness. I suppose no keen eyes.
I don't know. So you're
Hey,
trying to be
30-20.
Okay, Mina, do you want to give me a roll? Are you trying to keep a particularly stoic face? This would be resolve.
Yeah, that's a bit lower. I rolled 15, 17. So yeah, I'm three below you, but I'm keeping a stoic face, but with Aminata with that roll, you just kind of see. I'm just like twitch of the eye.
Okay. I'm not gonna say anything about it.
If you didn't
So
go to
when are we beating up some men?
I thought you'd never ask. 9 p.m.
As she's, very not very obviously changing the subject here. Okay, 9. So fantastic. So
We'll go.
Um,
We'll roll with it. Yes,
hopefully
9.
they won't be
Ages.
fighting.
Ages. Maybe
Yes.
we should have a look and see what the area is like before in daylight, so we can we know in case we run into trouble.
Oh well, I could.
And it would be good to scout since they're not expecting us, but they're certainly expecting Madame Gaultier.
True.
Mm.
I could also tell you a bit about the area before we
Oh,
go.
yes, please do.
It might be a good idea for us to dress down, I suppose, when we go scouting earlier, try and disguise our hair. So when we do go later, we're not so easily identifiable.
You say dress down. I don't have anything else. How much should we dress down?
Oh, obviously I have all my outfits and stuff available. We can always go upstairs. Look, I have plenty of trousers, plenty of more casual skirts, all of that. And
Sylvia's stuff's not very dressy, and I
No,
think
it's not.
anything Amanada has is going to be very
not all of
dressy.
Amanada's stuff is dressy.
But Sylvia's stuff
functional.
Sylvia's clothing is very functional. It's not fancy.
Okay,
at
grand.
all.
Yeah, I think Favours has clothes that are a bit more traditional, and then maybe more functional clothes for everyday work, I would guess. So I think I would have both. So perhaps I'd use the functional stuff. I have an idea that perhaps can maybe go terribly wrong, or go well.
Ooh, intrigued.
I
Intriguing.
would change myself to look like Madame Gaultier to help give them the illusion that she's coming.
Oh yes.
I was
Very good
thinking
idea.
about the same, but I was thinking about conjuring an illusion that looks like Madame Gaultier in order not to put anyone in danger.
Yeah, but wouldn't they discover that one fast?
Yeah, but
if they
we don't really.
Blood does make a difference.
Well, if Justine, with the illusion, if they tried to touch the illusion, I assume that's when they'd find out. Can you make the illusion speak like Madame Gaultier?
Yeah, you could. If you spend enough mana, you could. You have the conjure illusion spell of the first level conjure illusion. You're not talking about cantrip, but the first level conjure illusion spell, isn't it?
I do have first. Yeah, I have both cantrip and first level spell.
So if you're spending that, and if you spend more mana, basically for every 2 mana you spend, you're adding more senses to the illusion. So you could make
Could we potentially work on the same illusion?
I
Well,
don't have
no,
the conjure illusion spell.
Favours is using a different spell.
Yeah, I
Okay.
have. I'm talking about arcane mask.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't have the same spell to even help duplicate it.
No.
But with arcane mask, I could. Now here's the question: is I could increase my size, increase or decrease by 5%. I don't know if that puts us at the same range. I'm not sure if Madame Gaultier are similar in
Madame
size.
Gaultier
So
is tall. She's a tall woman, but she's not like freakishly tall.
Super out of
Like,
range
yeah,
tall, yeah.
like think supermodel kind of. Like you're talking about 185.
oh, well, that's going to be more than 5%. So I would be a short Madame Gaultier.
Okay, right. Yeah.
So it
Just
may
put
not
heels on, like,
Exactly.
I guess with heels, maybe we can make it work.
Yeah.
But yeah,
If Mina and Faith kind of stack up on top of each other, that might
They're really
work.
long coat. It's fine. What could go wrong?
okay, the plan is falling apart already. But I would imagine like the maximum height I could probably get is
How tall is Favours?
Favours would be like 160.
Okay. Right.
So I could
still
be
taller
like
than Mina.
I
So
could
you
get
could talk
Not by
170.
much, but
about 170-ish you could get to, which would be shorter than Madame Gaultier. She's about, as I said, she's about 185, so she's like a tall woman, but we're not talking like
Yeah.
freakishly
But it will
tall.
be dark. I mean, it could be a runner.
And I think heels could maybe help pull it off.
Although Justine's idea of the conjure illusion spell is also a very good idea.
The conjure illusion spell would mean that nobody is really putting themselves at risk, and also Fehus, if we have to run and you're wearing high heels, that may be an additional hazard.
that
we're
may
not
be an
accounting
issue,
for.
yeah. That's
I
true.
take them off and run. I mean, to be honest, it's pretty common to just run around barefoot back home. It's pretty nice. That's how we played with all the kids.
Or back home, I can understand,
I don't
but
know, there might be
this-
some broken glass and stuff.
yeah, this
on the
this
wall.
part of the city, I would not recommend.
No,
Fair point. Fair
and that's
point.
why
All
I
right.
would want to have a look
We'll-
first, because
We'll go with the logical and more safer idea rather than my reckless one.
Mina's gonna go over and put a hand on Rose's shoulder and goes like, was a very, very good idea though, but like, yeah, maybe we need another additional, person that can get punch. But she's also gonna say like, yeah, if we meet in a warehouse or something, I would like to kind of see first and see what the exit situation is like in case we have to do a quick exit, and so we kind of know where we're going rather than just running around like headless chickens, as we say at home.
And one thing though that I'd be concerned about is if they're smart, then they're not going to try and use traps because she could see through them. So they might. I fear that they might have actually been planning, now that I'm thinking about it, on using physical force, and we should just prepare for the worst.
Oh,
That's a
of
very good
course.
point.
Oh, I was definitely going to go armed. For that exact reason, it is very suspicious that they'd ask a lady of all, to meet at such a time in such a place. So I am very
Especially if
much
she has an establishment they could easily go to.
exactly. So I am very much expecting that they will be up to some shenanigans, and I intend on being armed.
Right. So
And
unless
we
it's
also have offensive magics that we could use, so we would give the appearance of not being armed at all,
Oh yes, we'll go in looking incredibly helpless, and then let them regret it.
so
Yes, I love it.
does the party want to go to the address given and scope it out during the daytime?
Yeah.
So you
Yes,
head
I
up
would
that
very
way.
much like to.
It's a busy kind of industrial area, not a great part of the city. You find the warehouse. It's pretty big. Like it's a large enough warehouse, large kind of high warehouse. Like it's like maybe I don't know, 4 or 5 meters high walls, and it's like it looks to be about like over 20 meters, 25 meters long, and about maybe 10 odd meters wide. Like it's a big work, but it's not crazy. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
stand out crazy compared to others. Walking around it, you see there's only one entrance. There's the big main door, but it does appear to be locked. There's nobody going in or out.
There's no other way out there. Like
No,
that's
so you can
literally
see.
the one.
There's
Yeah,
windows,
Mina
of
is immediately
course.
concerned.
There's
I've got
windows, but
skills.
yeah.
I want to try and unlock.
Yeah, sure.
What?
This is used the same as you use for your detect disarm traps.
Yeah.
There is no separate lock picking rogue skill
Oh, yeah,
because
yeah.
it's just part of the same one.
So that is it's a +4.
What's your dex?
Yeah. It's okay. So that's +4.
Go on, do your rogue.
So
stuff.
+6. So that is a 21.
Okay, so you do manage to bit of work open up the slightly rusted kind of lock, but you get then Nina has to give you help. It's one of those heavy kind of sliding doors, you know. There's not even a small pedestrian door that these often have set into them. So you crank it open a bit, and it's dimly lit. There is some sunlight coming in through the dirty windows, but it's a very, very unassuming. Whereas it doesn't look like it's been used much in a while, and you see
Is it empty, like completely empty?
No, there's a couple of random crates around.
Okay.
But it looks like it actually hasn't been used in a while.
Okay. No, I wanted to try and would they think that far in advance and have already sprung traps? No, they probably set up the traps shortly before Madame Gaultier gets there, which means from about 8:30 or something. Aminata is going to turn to the group and say, "Okay, I have a suggestion. So I could come here early, and with my ring, just
Disappear.
stay, scope out just to see if they've sprung any traps, they try and cast any sort of magic, and then when you arrive, I can come meet you before we show up. And if I could always stay hidden, but we don't know if they have any true sight or any of the likes. But I think it might be a good idea to have somebody around who might be able to see what they have, and I could also bring Anki.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is a problem with the plan. If something goes wrong, do you have a way of contacting us?
I think
She has Anki with her.
I have an arcanogram.
But none of. Oh, I have an arcanogram. I'll give you the glyph. I totally forgot that.
I could also go invisible and join you, so that you're not entirely alone.
I think
We should all go
it's-
and hide, and you guys should go and go invisible. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
saying
it's a
you're
bit-
saying.
I think it's a bit excessive because they were in the Fey Mount, so they might have like glasses of true sight or something like that.
You don't
What
know
I
what
think,
they have.
yeah, we don't know what they have. They might have plenty of magical artifacts, or they might have a spellcaster with them. What I think we should do, in my opinion, I think we should just send Anki to spy on them. He will sit there. They won't notice him because, he's a fairy creature. He's a fey dragon, even if they have the glasses of true sight. So what? He has like a natural camouflage, and they won't be able to see him anyways. And then he'll be able to report back. So I don't think we should put any of us in danger because it's not worth it.
True. True.
But also, Anki, he's. I'd hate if they did anything to him, but I understand that is a much more sensible idea. Like I wasn't suggesting that I stay in the building or anything, just in the near by vicinity, just so I could maybe report on numbers. But if you're happy to have Anki go, I could still accompany Anki part of the way.
So
at
just
least.
a reminder that Justine, you can only perceive through Anklegon's senses if you're within 100 meters of
fine.
each other.
Yeah, but I don't have to see through him.
Oh, I can carry Justine and put on the ring. I can.
We don't need Justine to see through his
Yes,
eyes.
but that would be continuous and ever increasing fortitude rolls until you eventually drop her because you're not that strong.
Piggyback. Yeah.
Yeah, but like we can just we've done it before. We can just send Anki and kind of just then tell him to report back basically, and just I don't have to see through his eyes.
We should kind of hide out in the vicinity anyway and kind of see if they come in and if they set up anything. We should kind of hang out anyway a bit earlier, see how many are coming in and so on and so forth. And then, we can send Anki inside to see, or maybe look through a dirty window to see what's happening. Maybe there is even now, actually, I'm going to look at the roof. Is there anything loose I can notice that he could squeeze through?
You don't know. Anklegon would need to go up and look. You couldn't see from down here.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll look at Justine and say, "You seem like you're the one with the reasonable plans."
Well, she has the brains. She's definitely the brains of this operation. All right, yeah.
Aminata is just gonna feign like being wounded and be like, "Oh, straight to the heart."
Oh, you seem
You're
to
cruel,
like chaotic plans like me.
No one else in the party is disagreeing with your statement, Favours, by the way. Aminat is the only one who reacted. Everyone else is silently nodding.
Justine is a very intelligent and learned scholar, so
Yeah, she is, yeah.
Yeah, in fairness, like I think party shares about like 5 brain cells, and like 4 of them are Justine's. Saying
yeah,
that was a bit fucking much.
Yes, that's fair. That's fair.
Oh, excuse you. Who figured out they were werewolves before anybody else?
Everyone.
Actually,
I
knew they were
I would
werewolves.
like to hear this werewolf story, please.
Another time. So, the party hangs around, or they go off for a while, and you just head back to the warehouse. About an hour or so before the agreed time?
Yeah, an hour and a half, something like that.
Okay.
Just
Aminata, do you open the door so that Anklegon can sneak in again?
Of course.
And then I'm not going to make you roll. You open it up and then lock it. Anklegon is perched on one of the rafters up inside. Turns. Yes, Fizz?
Before we do this for a second time, I just want to see if anyone's watching the warehouse.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Give me awareness rolls.
Because I don't know if they even saw us going in the first time.
Aminata would have done that with the ring on.
I see all with my total of 6.
Okay, cool. So, as I said, you let Aminata, are you going inside and staying invisible, or are you waiting outside?
No, I will go with the more sensible idea, and I'll let Anki in, but I'll do that while wearing my ring, just to be sure, because it'll look suspicious if somebody just goes to the door, jimmies it open, opens it, closes it, and walks away.
But the door magically opening on its own and then closing with no one there to move it doesn't look suspicious at all.
I mean,
it's some ghost, okay?
An old door.
So, at about 8:30, actually, give me all stealth rolls, all of you.
Gwynn is going to turn into her black kitty form.
You don't need to. And then, Gwynn, you don't need to either, because you transform into your black cat form.
Yes.
Which I don't think, Favours, had you seen before?
Sorry.
Yes, the goblin at the goblin house.
Okay,
before we all do this, can I cast Restore to Spark, please?
Oh yeah, you cast Restore to Spark on everybody. Okay, and Gwynn, you don't need to give me a stealth roll because you're a cat. Aminata, you don't need to give me a stealth roll because you're invisible. Everyone else, give me stealth rolls.
Can I turn into a rat?
Yes, you can. So then you don't need to give me a stealth roll.
Are we all now at the warehouse?
Yous are in the vicinity of it, looking like yous aren't at the warehouse, but I assume you're like.
sorry. Then I'm gonna wait till we get closer to 32.
No, like all I mean is like you're not right at the entrance. You're like nearby, watching the entrance. You know.
Oh, I need to. Sorry, I need to double check.
Sorry, but before we go back to going back in, I realize I can cast scrying to see if anything changed inside because it's a place I've been to.
You have now gone in there, so you now know it.
Yeah.
Correct.
So I can cast scrying to know if it's empty, if it's okay to go in.
You cast. You say absolutely, yeah.
We
So
can do that at home before we leave. Yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah, definitely.
so I want to know, do you have a mirror that you carry on you for this spell, or do you just find convenient reflective surfaces?
No, Favours would definitely be the kind of person that keeps a mirror on hand.
Okay, so you
And
take
so
out.
then,
You
yeah.
take out your mirror, you cast a spell, the surface of the mirror shimmers going black and then opens up, revealing the interior of the warehouse, and you don't see anything different. Just the empty warehouse and 4 crates.
Okay, I'll relay that,
Yeah.
and after scrutinizing to make sure out of panic. But yes.
And sorry, what were those stealth rolls?
17.
Justine?
Potato sack strikes again. 11.
Okay. And Feroz?
17.
Okay, and Sylvia, are you in your human form or are you in a rat form?
I'm gonna turn into a rat. I double checked. The spell lasts for 1
And
hour.
1 hour
for
per
every...
magic. Yeah. So
Yeah,
you've got
sorry. I
loads of
thought it
time.
was a minute per
Oh
magic.
God,
so
no.
I just-
So
I
you
want
got-
to double check.
So you're a rat. Okay, right. So what you see is a group of men. There are
How many?
5 men of various different builds, and they are walking up to the warehouse. They're carrying a small crate. Okay, it's not very big, a smallish crate. Okay, one of them goes and they appear to have a key. They unlock the door to the warehouse. They go in. They close the door over. Justine, if you want, you could sight beyond sight and be looking through Anklagon's eyes and perceiving through his senses. So you see Justine's eyes got this kind of weird milky kind of white color as she then looks through Anklagon. Are you just looking, or are you seeing as well, or hearing as well?
Hearing as well.
Okay, so you're looking and hearing. You see these guys. They've got the warehouse is quite dark, okay, because it's nighttime now. Okay, there is not really that. There's some street lamps around here, but not many. But they have a couple of lamps that they put down on some of the crates. They put this crate down as they're chatting amongst themselves. There's this big guy, tall, very lean build. He's got scars on his face and knuckles, dark hair with some streaks of grey in it, and he's got a very heavy leather coat, and he's actually carrying in his hand this incredibly fine, ornate-looking spear. All right, and he turns to another guy, who's average height, average build. Dark brown hair that comes up on kind of like a high forehead with this really thick mustache that sweeps to the sides, and wearing a brown waistcoat, but like really, it's like highly decorative, and it looks like there might be some arcane runes in that. And the big guy with the spear, he turns to the other guy, he's like, "So, Emond, did that witch bitch reply, or what's going to be going on?" And then this other slight built guy with these similar guys goes, "Hey, she's not a witch. She's a whatchamacallem, a wizard, you know." The guy with the heavy mustache is like, "She said that she was going to be here. Okay, relax. Okay, we'll get this deal done. We'll get the money that we want, and if she gives us any trouble, yeah, we'll deal with it. All right."
Woo, they're gonna meet a witch bitch. Just wait.
And it looks like they're kind of setting themselves up, you know, positioning themselves around the warehouse, taking up positions. Just waiting around. The guy with the spear kind of the front, and then the rest of the guys a bit further back. Give me an awareness roll, and I'm going to say plus 4, okay?
I actually rolled 18, so plus 4, that's going to be 22.
Nice.
Okay, so what you do spot is one of the guys, he's average height with like light auburn hair and this really, really thick beard that's kind of like still kind of close to the face. And he's got this dagger he keeps twirling in his hand. And this other guy who hadn't been speaking is kind of bald headed, long, really thick but well kept beard and like a really fine waistcoat over a pretty expensive overcoat. As he's moving around, you spot that he has pistols on him as well. And eventually it hits 9 o'clock. What do you all want to do?
Okay, so Justine is going to. So they're not preparing any traps or anything
No,
because
they
I
aren't.
assume if they were, they would have kind of started
You would have
setting them
seen
up,
it. No,
or
no,
they would have set them up.
No.
Yeah. So I'm going to stop looking through Ankelagon's eyes, and I'll return kind of to my party and be like, well, first of all, they're really dumb, and she's going to kind of repeat what you heard them saying, and that they don't even know who they're dealing with, if it's like a witch or a wizard or whatever.
You see Rat Sylvia kind of do her like it's weird to see this expression on a rat's face. It's kind of
yeah.
And the rat also just it's not important, but just she so it's a brown rat except the back
Is white.
is white.
So it looks quite odd. So Justine?
It's a really fucking weird looking rat, but it's a rat.
Justine?
I'm sure they've seen worse. So there are 5 of them. They all seem like thugs, but one of them is a gunslinger. One of them has pistols. So we should watch out for this man. She's going to describe kind of how he looks like. That he has like a neat beard and an expensive.
Aminata
pistol.
is going to zero in on that dude.
They're gonna get the fright of their lives when Sylvia and Gwynn turn back into humans in front of them.
So
I can't wait.
what's the
Well,
plan?
one has arcane runes on his waistcoat, so they have some sort of spellcaster.
Mm-hmm.
What is the plan?
I suggest-
Gwynn wants to 15 meters. Okay. How far away? Like, what's
Gwyn is
the
probably
width of
just
this
going to
thing?
set fire to the warehouse. Tell me you're going to set fire to the warehouse.
so-
You're going to set
That
fire to
may
the
have
warehouse?
crossed my
Yeah.
mind.
The warehouse is about 25 odd meters long, and it looks like they're kind of in the middle.
Okay.
What I suggest, maybe I should try and conjure illusion, because I don't think they'll be intelligent enough to recognize it straight away. Conjure illusion that would look like Madame Gaultier, speak like Madame Gaultier,
Let's give them one
so
chance.
that they see her walking in,
Mhm.
and then the 3 of us, well, all of us can walk in, but Sylvia is a rat, Gwyn is a cat, and Aminata is just invisible. So her bringing 3 more people in, kind of,
That's fine.
yeah, it's not as suspicious.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Yeah.
Plus one of them,
So
Favours, you're muted.
I can also go invisible, and that way there is even less.
Ooh. Yep.
Mhm.
Deadly.
And then they
Yeah,
just
that's a good idea.
who is punching me?
all right. So is that the plan? So you all Favours, you cast invisibility just as you're getting to the front. The front door was slightly open, but not fully open.
Sorry.
Aminata?
Heather?
I'd like to try and detect any traps or anything like that, please.
Yeah, sure. Give me a roll.
Yes, excellent.
If you could you give us Sparky Spark before we left.
I did.
Yeah,
Okay.
we got restorative spark. So that
Good.
I thought of that.
That
Question
is-
about the spells. If I were to cast Alchemist Armor and then Invisibility, does one cancel out the other?
No,
or how
no,
does-
no, no. There's very few concentration spells in the system. Very few.
Okay. So I can cast Alchemist Armor.
Yeah.
Then
And then
when
go invisible, yeah.
yeah, okay, I'll do that.
So you
Okay,
cast
no.
Alchemist Armor, then cast Invisibility. Aminata, with that, what was the roll you said you got?
I got a 25.
Yeah, you don't see any traps. So you put on your ring of invisibility, and then Justine, do you go to cast a spell to make it look like Madame Gaultier is walking in with you and Mina flanking?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna open the door. Gonna
Mhm.
knock first, and then I'm making it look like I'm opening the door for Madame.
Yeah.
So Madame doesn't have to open the door because she's an illusion. She can't open the door, but they don't know that.
And I assume Kitty and Rat Sylvia just scoot in behind and, you know, whatever.
Okay, so you all come in, Madame Gaultier walking in, and as they see her, they say, "Ah, Madame Gaultier, it is so good to see you again." This is the tall guy with the kind of the scars who has the spear, who is speaking. All right, and as I said, the other guys are kind of standing a bit behind him, and as they're walking in, the guy who had the very fine waistcoat with the arcane runes on it, he starts to gesture, casting a spell, and his eyes have this flash of silver over them.
Of course.
Oh,
And
Of course.
that is a perfect place to pause in our story.
Uh-oh.
It was always a risk.
Very
It
good.
was always a
Oh,
risk.
yeah, listen. It's
So
fine.
thank you
It's
all for
fine.
joining us. Please make sure to join us again next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. We shall see what is going to happen with this charming bunch of erudite men in this questionable warehouse in this questionable part of the city. And we'll see exactly what skills this other group of adventurers that Madame Gaultier had hired possess.
God.
So, talk to you all soon. Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Thank-
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.